This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, folks. The time being 4:46. I'd like to call this meeting of June 20th, 2024 to order. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all. Okay, we have a great deal on our agenda. It doesn't look like it, but I've already seen our town administrator report, so we will get to it. We have the approval of the minutes for May 30th and June 6th. Anybody?
June 6th as presented.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes as written for May 30th, 2024. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. June 6th.
Cause the water to run into the property. There was also a discussion.
Yeah. John, your mic is not on.
They're green here.
It's got to be green.
I made
Thank
the
you.
same
Red at
mistake.
town-
It's
red
the
at town
opposite
hall,
color.
green
Yeah.
here. Yep.
In case anybody hear. So, but it says I explained how berms work, but what I explained was that the snow melt from the plowing, the pile from the plowing would go into the neighbor's basement, causing further flooding problems. There was also a discussion on installing a swale along that side of the road, and I pointed out that the houses in that neighborhood, in particular Mr. Fontaine's and the other one just further up, Morrison Ave, is close to the road, and there's no room to install a swale because it would be a ditch in front of their front door.
Okay. Anyone else? We will send these back for corrections. Anybody want to attempt June 16th? Anyone?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written on the minutes of Sunday, June 16th, 2024.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Abstain.
and one abstention. That would be Scott. Okay, next up is we have Mary Kate Daly. She here yet? Yep, there she goes, out in the corner, and Mark Nash, right? Yep, okay. From Eversource. You're going to do a presentation? Sure, come on up. Oh, come on up. Do you have something to view for people, or are you just going to discuss it?
I believe Mary Kate may have,
I know we have something, so,
and I was just going to,
okay.
so, your map and two
Mhm.
I do have. As well.
There's somewhere in here, so.
I'm about to
No,
give
that's
up.
all right. Wow. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. We can do that. I've seen them, so.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Referring to.
That mic is not on
Green.
in our,
Green is go.
So,
Senate Taker is not going to hear you.
okay, so I'm Mark Nash with Project Services with Eversource, Mary Kate Daly with Community Relations. As Mary Kate was just saying, this is part of the J125 project. This is a laminated wood structure replacement 1-for-1 that starts in Franklin and goes through Franklin through the town of Tilton, Belmont, and Laconia to the Laconia substation. Part of that, there is a section that on Wolf Road in Tilton. And there were two, as you'll see on Wolf Road, there was a planned access point, and then there was what was called off right-of-way access. During the project, they looked at that area on Wolf Road and felt that might be less of an impact in the area if we were to go up along the Wolf Road to the gate. We went with the Kilmsters and explained the project, walked them through it in person out in the field, and they allowed us temporary access to utilize up along Wolf Road and through the gate into the right of way to replace a few structures at east towards Laconia, headed towards like the Silver Lake. We found afterwards that looking at the gate, that gate is 12 feet wide, and most the gates now are 6 feet just to allow for equipment to pass through safely when they're accessing down into the right of way.
16 feet. Right?
16 feet. The gate. So this is a 12-foot gate. So once we realized that, the project management team looked at that and felt that to still maintain passing through there, and again the impact to see if we could put in the same spot where that gate is now. It would be the same type of, basically the same type of gate. Just it would be the width would be 2 feet on each side to pass through there. I did speak to Mrs. Kilmster the other day, and they didn't have any issue with that gate replacement. And then I know that during that process, Mary Kate had reached out to you folks as well, and then I verified. And I think there was some confusion yesterday with Mary Kate with Mrs. Kilster on access. So I kind of just clarified that. So
Speak to Mr. Wolf.
for this, no, ma'am, did not speak to Mr. Wolf.
He's also here tonight.
I know.
Okay, so I have a question though.
Yes.
Entering from Noyes Road.
Yep.
Coming up Noyes Road, are you paralleling instead of using Wolf Road? You're paralleling up along Wolf Road,
Yes.
making a new road.
No. There's the Wolf Road. It would be following that path, following that road to the gate, and then through the gate. There wouldn't be.
Is that an existing easement?
Yes.
I thought.
Oh,
Wolf,
no.
I thought Wolf Road was the easement.
Wolf Road is that section was owned by the Kilmsters, and some of it goes out of the easement, out of the right of way.
Has that ever been surveyed?
I would assume
Well,
so, but I don't want to answer.
You shouldn't say that out loud.
Yeah, no, I don't want to. I'm not.
Because if you look at prior maps, which I have at Town Hall,
Yep.
it looks as though that Wolf Road comes up and then turns, but the easement follows Wolf Road up, and then it comes up and then it stops. And so our town property comes this way a little bit. And it's really not accurate if you follow one map from 19, I think it was 91, I think it was that I saw. And don't quote me on that 91, but it didn't look exactly what your map was trying to tell us where your poles were distinguishing from coming down and over. There was some discrepancy there as far as where your gate was and where Wolf Row. And then after talking with Mr. Wolf, there originally was a stone wall crossing there, which was taken down by Eversource years ago to get around that because they didn't have the access through the gate, which I've never known anybody to take down a stone wall because that's a boundary. So I have questions today about number one, the boundary, number two, the lot boundary is my number one, and the easement, because now you're going to go up. Not only you're going to go next to Wolf Road, and then go straight up, and then also, which has nothing to do with the gate tonight, but the next pole, 82, 83, in your access in your presentation to the Conservation Commission and to the board, you stated that it was wetlands and that you were going to go over that wetlands, and it's very heavy wetlands, and that you were going to put in mats down in that area. But in the past, over the years, you've come through the Ashalot Drive, gone through, and most recently, they've replaced one of those poles in the winter, and it may even be 83 or 84 in the winter. Why can't you replace that in the winter and not disturb the wetlands? Why are we doing this now?
I couldn't answer that, not being familiar with the permitting and how the wetlands work with that. So I wouldn't want to I
So
do
in the,
not know.
we know definitively that in the past, any repairs to any of the poles or any of the lines that have to be done or anything have always gone through the Ashalot Drive and gone over there and not touched the area. There's a section, and I don't know how long a section that is. I'm not out there to see that, but how long a section that is, where there are actually deep wetlands out there, which you're going to disturb.
It was my understanding to go in this way was not to go all the way down through. It was just to only access a few of the structures prior to what I guess was an area that would have created an impact. I don't know if it's that
Wait.
wetlands. So it was going to kind of couple structures here and then from the other side and not pass through a certain location.
You're actually going to go all the way through to Ashalot Drive, all the way, which,
I would have to check on that. I don't know.
okay.
Get the rest of the
Yeah.
team and permitting involved
Yeah.
and, have them attend another meeting. And I that came today for generally before construction would start, somebody would consult. Required permits. I'm not familiar with the details.
Okay, Catherine,
I have 2 right-of-ways that go across your right-of-way to Silver Lake in that area. I'd be very upset if I went down there and that pristine waterway, wetlands was disturbed by construction vehicles. But you have 3 property owners that utilize Wolf Road, and you only contacted 2.
It would just
I'm
I'm sorry.
asking the public to wait and we'll open it for comment. Thank you. 4.
4.
Thank you.
Okay.
I was
4.
going to correct it, but I was going to wait. Thank you.
Just I notified the 2 property owners of that for that gate for that the budding property owners
Did it by the gate.
that are at the gate, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Your impact there is going to be an impact to Wolf Road. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I agree with Pat. Why all of a sudden are you coming in this way?
Kim, can we put that map up so that the other people can see what we're talking about? Are you able to do that or no? Okay. Can we get onto the server or no?
Can't read it.
It is pretty small and they're not clearly marked.
If we agree to allow for the larger gate, is that going to be Eversource's gate to maintain? It's a 16-foot gate. The posts are gonna do this and heave and twist, and occasionally we have vandals down there. I know myself, I've had to pick up trash in front of the gate. But the gate itself, is that going to be Eversource's to maintain when it falls and a post needs to be straightened, or?
I'm not sure.
I would have to get that answer
Right.
and find out for you.
A 16-foot gate is going to come out of whack level more than this 12-foot gate is.
I'm not sure, where it's being installed for. Right away by it. So, but we don't have that.
Okay.
That's the gate.
Right.
And, generally prior to.
But by then it's too late.
Not necessarily. Project services is to reach out to any of the property owners.
Yeah, in preparation for the project, and then areas that have impacts with this, surrounding neighborhoods or roads, we would do some outreach to those folks as well, making them aware of what would be going on in the neighborhood.
So, um, anybody else have any questions before I chime in? Go ahead, Joe. Anybody?
No,
Anybody?
no.
Anybody else? I want other people
So far, so
to
good.
talk before.
You guys are asking the right questions.
Before I make a decision on whether I allow a 16-foot gate to a 12-foot gate, I was not under the understanding that there was another road, another access, an easement coming into beside Wolf Road on this. So that changes things a little bit. It's running parallel to that Wolf Road. I'll say that 10 times. And also, I'm not ready to make that decision unless I get some kind of an answer on that wetlands.
Yes, and I unfortunately do not have that. If I could ask, are you referring to the yellow line that the yellow line that's passing up through there? As
$10.
I don't know where this drawing came that I just got, but it
Yep,
shows
it's a-
Eversource relocated drive, and it is right beside,
That's a very old map.
is it?
Yep.
But this shows something going on.
yeah,
I mean, you're supposed to be making, the last review we had from Eversource was as little impact as possible.
yeah.
This is quite a wetlands, and you're making a huge impact.
In that area, you're making a huge impact.
And I don't know how they're going down in
Okay.
there, so I
All right. So
approaching that area, I wouldn't want to.
I definitely need some answers when I know for the years in the past, you've accessed it from the other area with little impact. And I think that we need to keep the little impact in keeping with that. And I know we have some Wolf Road residents here that have a couple of questions, so I'm going to open it, if you don't mind, open it to the Wolf Road. And I would like, if you would have a mic, please. You have to talk into the mic.
We can.
That's fine. We have a portable. Thanks, Tim. Mr. Wolf, go ahead. State your name, please.
My name's Bill Wolf. I live at 32 Wolf Road. I have not been contacted by Eversource about any of this in any form. Like to thank the board for allowing me to give my side of the story here. Eversource relocated one of the lines and added larger capacity. That's referencing the map you have. They replaced a wood pole, a normal wood pole with a gigantic metal pole, put a big concrete footing in the ground. That interfered with the deeded right of way from Van Hertel to the current town property. He owned it at that point, and he needed a right of way that wouldn't go in front of I'm going to throw names out here. If you're confused, let me know. The Colella property, which is indicated on that piece, that is now the Kilmister
Okay.
property. So Colella wanted to move the right of way so he didn't have the driveway going right by the front of his house. He got in a deal with Hertel to give access to what's now the town property lakefront. They moved the road over, kept it mostly off the public service ROW and easement, whatever they want to call it. It went straight down next to the barn that's there and then down to the lake. When Eversource came in 88 or 89 and put up this big new tower, they put the concrete footing 5 feet into the right of way, restricting the travel on the right of way to my property, to some of Kilmister's property, and the house next door, which was owned by a couple of people before. Got in a fight with Eversource, believe it or not, and said, you're obstructing our access on a deeded right of way. Eversource took it upon themselves to put in the current jug handle where they moved the road under the power lines, made it go around the new line, the new pole that's up. And that's when they pushed with a private contractor, pushed the linchpin of all surveying in the area, rock wall out. You go there is an actual portion drilled in a big stone that I was told was done more than 100 years ago. And an Eversource contractor came in with a bulldozer, no surveying, just pushed it out of the way. And that's now gone forever. So we've been using the jug handle part since 1988. At 88, when they put the pole up, I contacted Eversource and said, I don't see any indication on the town tax map of how big your right of way is, what the depth is. The Hertel property, which the town now has, indicated that the previous owner of that 40 years before gave public service 100-foot right of way. The current right of way that Eversource is using on town property is 135 feet. There's been no changes and nothing at the deed registry. So it looks like Eversource has just taken it upon themselves to grab extra territory where they can put their lines up. When they put that big pole in, and when they put the defective laminated pole in, they moved from the 99-foot mark of the right of way to 112 feet. So the current pole is off now it's got to be 65, 70-year-old right of way that they were deeded. It's like the old fable about boiling a frog. Everyone knows that. At that point, I realized that there was no trust here. They will do whatever they have to do to satisfy their stockholders. So I've more than a dozen times I have gone to Eversource and asked them for plans, because it's been surveyed more than a dozen times out there by Eversource folks, an indication of how actual wide the right of way is. And to this day, nothing. The last couple of calls I made, they said, we don't, so you have to call the 800 number because you don't have any direct line. You end up with a customer service person and they say they'll pass it on. So, after a while, I'm kind of a hothead. After a while, I got in and I said, listen, I don't want to hear this anymore. I want to talk to somebody. And somebody came on the phone and said, we don't give plans out to regular customers. You have to be an attorney and file a request with us to get those plans. If you go look at town tax maps for Franklin, Tilton, Belmont, Laconia, there's no indication on any of those tax maps how wide the Eversource right of way is. This is not Eversource owned land. This is land owned by regular people like you and me. And they just go in there and they do whatever they want. So I'm done beating that up. I mean, I could talk about this all night. My concern specifically here is that the information we were shown 2 weeks ago shows a separate road going up underneath the existing power line that goes down to 3M. It would be off. They'd have to take our mailboxes down. It would be to the northwest side of Wolf Road. And then it would go straight up and then hit the jug handle and go around. That's great, but once it gets up to the jug handle, it apparently merges. I'm the one who has to maintain the road because nobody else volunteers to. I have to plow it. I have to use my diesel tractor to grade it because every time Eversource comes in with the excavators, they chew the place to death. Apparently, that's one of the complaints from Kilmister now, and it never, nobody ever comes to fix anything. Call after call after call has been made. So what I'm concerned about is if you do grab the existing Wolf Road and you do make that part of your either right of way or easement, that you're going to basically control all of Kilmister's property between Noyes Road and their house. Nobody relayed that information to Kilmister. I talked to her yesterday afternoon in person.
And I
The
talked
other
to her
thing-
today, yeah.
The other thing, I'm sorry,
No.
have I gone too long?
No, I talked with her yesterday as well.
Okay.
Relayed the same information.
Okay. The thing I'm concerned about, the thing I'm concerned about is who's going to maintain that road and who's going to give me a change in my deeded right of way to maintain the ability to get to my property for myself and my heirs. And there's no answers. Call Eversource. There's never any answers at all. You are right about the wetlands. They're virgin wetlands that goes back to as far as when Boston and Maine Railroad put the railroad tracks in. And I did some research on that, and it looks like 1855, something like that. Hasn't been touched in 175 years. And they're going to come in and they're going to lay down a 16-foot gravel road, just like you see when you go down 93 and you look across from the Canterbury Country Club, and that abomination that they've turned that beautiful area into. They're gonna destroy the wetlands. It shocks me as a business person that they continue to go, don't take this personal, they continue to go forward without any real plans. And they send people out that say, well, we really don't know about that, but we want you to sign off that it's okay. Are you kidding me? In this society? That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The other people that live on Wolf Road, some of the people that live down on Noyes Road are extremely concerned about it. May I continue a little bit? I won't take up a lot more time. I have found out through my contacts that replacing the rotted poles is not the ultimate goal of Eversource here. The ultimate goal is to set a base so they can run those big 70-foot steel poles all the way down to 140. The poles that are on Route 3 now will not support the growth that Tilton is going to experience and Northfield and Belmont are going to experience on 140. So they're pushing their way in here to get this done under some excuse of rotted poles, but the The ultimate goal is that. Apparently, I heard through the grapevine that there's some type of new, somebody's going to buy the 3M building and turn it into a wood truss manufacturing facility. That's kind of top secret. I was a real estate agent, and real estate agents don't know when to keep their mouth shut. So I hear that from them. The other side of it is I guess there's 160 low to moderate income apartments going to go on the Superfund cleanup site. And, that's going to need electricity. There's the proposal for across the street from Valvoline that all that can't be handled by the poles on Route 3. And the new U-Haul and the new storage facility on Noyes Road, it smells. It smells real bad. And I'm just concerned that the same thing is going to happen. It always happens with Eversource, where they make all sorts of promises and they never follow through on them. My request is that we get real plans before you folks make any type of give to them. I'm not telling you how to do your job. I'm just saying that the way I would do it is I want to see concrete plans as to what they're going to do. And with virgin wetlands involved, I believe a bond should be posted. And I know I'm probably going on beyond what I'm supposed to talk about, but I'm a taxpayer and I have my little part of the town that I pay my taxes for, and that's what I would like to see.
Thank you, Bill.
Anybody have any questions for me? I mean, I can talk all night,
Yeah,
but I
we've
don't
got a
want
lot to go through. Appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. Do we have somebody else? All right.
Hi, Brian Hupper, 96 Noyes Road.
Mhm.
When I bought 96 Noyes Road, I had a second tract that was in that contract. It's on the other side of that gate. Do I lose my right of way that's in my contract? Is this a wall or is this a gate that I can walk up and open?
You won't be able to open. It's a gate. It's a locked gate. You can show them a picture if you would.
Then I lose my right of way.
Yes, there's a property owner on the other side of the gate.
You-
Yes,
Property
you have
owners
access.
that
You
maintain.
can't bar his access to his property.
So however they want to choose to lock the gate. So
Yeah,
folks want, if the town or whoever
I'm aware
wanted
of
to lock the gate.
So, Ms. Huber, you have property on the opposite side of the gate, correct?
correct.
And how is it today to get to your property?
I walk through the little gate, close it behind me, and then get my feet wet.
So it's unlocked.
Yes.
Okay. So it's still going to be unlocked.
What's that?
Is it still going to be unlocked?
It's up to us.
I think that would be up to, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And just for the future, could that track 2 be loaded into my base so that I get notified also?
Oh, for notification of
Or any project of that nature?
yeah, so for this one here, I'm sorry. Do I have to?
Yeah.
You just shut yourself off.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean with the town of Tilton.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If there's any activity with Eversource,
Or any activity that would affect this piece of property that I should be notified for. I wasn't.
it's going to. If you're in a buddy, you should have gotten notification at the first presentation that they gave us as abutters.
But if
They give us the list of abutters, and we, did the best we can. There was 105 abutters that they gave us through the town of Tilton and sent them out. Some came back as unregistered, but undeliverable, excuse me. But yes, we can leave your name and number with me, and I'll be more than happy to call you and double check on the abutters list. And then anything that comes before that, yes, going forward, absolutely.
Thank you.
Joe, you had a question?
I'm just curious. I understand there's serious issues here, but I'm curious as to exactly what part of that affects the town of Tilton. Is this happening on our property? Or is this happening in the right of way and on Mr. Wolf's property and this gentleman as well?
Both.
And so it's happening on our property.
Right. Right. Yes. Both. It gives him access to our property. The gate is on our property.
Okay.
Yep.
I thought it was on his property.
No, the gate is on our property, our right of way. I forget how many acres of land we have up there. I should have brought the tax map up there. It's like,
I don't remember.
I don't either. Quite a few.
Wildlife refuge.
Right. It's a wildlife refuge up there.
And I would say the wetlands is a very important, and that's in the wetland conservation district. A very sensitive area and right beside the lake, which is the source of drinking water for that whole area. So recharging that lake is very important. I won't vote for any gate widening until we know what's going to go on with the rest of it.
So board, what's your decision here?
I agree with Joe and you. We need more information.
It sounds
Okay.
like we have to,
And I think
gather
we're in a
more stuff and
position
then
where
figure it out.
the start of, this project isn't potentially until Q4 of this year. So, tabling this today, and get together with you all again or whomever
Okay.
to go over. And, unfortunately, I don't have all the answers for those questions tonight, but we can make sure that the people that are, part of that piece, are here. And
Okay. Sounds
You
like a
provide
plan.
the town with your map, blueprint, whatever that shows your proposed right of way through that area from Noyes Road to Silver Lake Road.
Today, but
Not,
yes.
not that map,
not
like a blueprint map of the right of way that you're gonna, like a construction map.
structures through there.
Whoever's developing the plans for that,
Correct.
absolutely. We will bring permitting,
Right.
engineering and things, so we can answer all of the questions. And I feel
Mhm.
terrible that I'm sure lots of people have had very negative interactions. One of our main goals and everybody has all of the information, transparency, addressing any concerns
Right.
going forward. So we want to make sure that we're doing this right and that everybody feels comfortable with it. So we have no issues with making sure that all of the information that can be presented to everybody, and make sure Mr. Wolf is definitely, top of the list to be contacted as it seems as though
And the
there's
gentleman behind you.
frustration. Yes,
Yeah.
if we could
Yeah.
get your information as well. For sure, tabling, like you said, that's what we came for today. I don't think we were anticipating or realizing how many more things.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I apologize that we don't have all of the answers for you
Yeah.
here today, but we have no issues getting them all.
Okay.
And,
Thank you.
Sounds
sorry to
good.
waste your time for this, but not
Not a
knowing
waste of time.
all of that piece
Not
as well.
Not a waste of time at all.
Right
I
there.
think it's
Yeah,
really good
yeah,
though,
yeah,
actually,
yeah.
because everybody was able to get,
Yeah,
some
at least we got
concerns
some.
out and we have more information.
That's good. As long as we
Good.
can get, yep. Sounds like a plan.
Follow up. Okay.
All right. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Hubu, can you give Tim your information so that we can get it for us? Thanks. All right, Selectmen's reports, please. Thanks, Bill.
Good night.
Scott, you're up.
I don't have anything this week.
All right. Joe, you're up.
I went on Monday night to the Lakes Region Planning annual meeting. Went with Pat and Jane and Nate. Langione came as well. And it was dinner. The one thing they really talked, it was mostly pats on the back and whatever annual meeting, but Andrew Hosmer was the
You said Andrew Hausmer?
Andrew Hosmer, the mayor of Laconia,
I know
was the
Andrew,
keynote
obviously.
speaker and spoke about the former state school property and plans for its use. And I had a book that LRPC put out that showed their projects and their vision for the future and where they're headed and what have you, which I was going to bring here to go to town hall, but I forgot it on my desk. So I will get it there. The co-op operating committee board met, and there's a proposed budget. I didn't print it out, but I will forward that email or text message to everybody on this board and to you, Tim, as well, so that you can take a look at it in anticipation of a meeting of the entire co-op to vote on that budget. It's mostly landfill related stuff. Also, the piece of property that we own just on the other side of Market Basket down there is still under contract, and I forget the exact number, but they pay us like $10,000 a month, and they've been doing it for 15 months to hold that property, and it's supposed to be a down payment on the property, but they're still trying to put together their part. They haven't walked away yet, and that will be a vote of the entire co-op coming up. I don't have that date right now, but we'll get to vote on extending the contract, extending it again, or taking their money and walking away and looking for a new person. So that's it. That's it. And I'll keep you apprised of
Thanks, Joe.
anything else.
Catherine, what do you got?
Oh, it's my turn already? My list. No. So I'm sure everybody is aware that the new assessed values from Avatar are out. I've suggested this over the years, and I suggested last fall that we go out to bid. We've been using Avatar for what, 20 years?
At least the 12 I've been around.
So one of their contracts is up December. The other one I'm a little confused because it says 2019 on it, but it's got to be an addendum in here somewhere. But I'm suggesting that we go out to bid and see what's out there, and if somebody has a better deal and whatnot. I'm also, have they presented us formally with their new assessed values? And usually, I know in the past, Lauren has come in with the values and said, here they are, blah, 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 blah. Have they formally presented us with the new values?
They have
They've formally presented, they've provided a
They just sent them over?
pro forma MS1 and sent out the values to taxpayers. And also in your FYI, you'll also see a packet of values for all the town of Tilton owned properties as well.
Well, I'm suggesting that we don't accept those values, that we don't accept this appraisal. We had Avatar, we had DRA in here a month or two ago. Seems like it was a month or two ago, could have been longer ago. And they all agreed that, you know, what we're dealing with is an artificially inflated property values for residential properties, but yet here we are. My phone has been off the hook with people concerned that they're going to be taxed out of their homes. Try to assure them that the current tax rate is not going to be the tax rate in the fall, but nevertheless, we all know that that's not going to drop the same percentage that the assessed values increased. I just think it's unconscionable that they went ahead and used their formula and used those artificial values and increased our assessed values. They work for us, and we have a right to say, no, we're not going to assess these, we're not going to accept these values. And have that conversation with them. They also have, they're not 100% correct, so there is a percentage that, you know, they're off. They're maybe 70%, 80%.
They're off 80% of the time?
No, I mean, they're not 100% correct. There has to be some percentage or some number that they are, they could be off, that they could be incorrect. I'm not saying it right, but it's been a long day. But to start, I would say we don't accept these values and let them come in and explain to us why we should. And I just want to go on record. Personally, on my property I live on, my value did not go up. Same percentage as other properties. It's a little odd. It doesn't make any sense when I compare it with other properties. I'm not speaking for myself.
I know they have a formula that they use, and it's based on sales of comparable properties. Whether it's, points, 1.2 acres and a house with 3 bedrooms. And of course, I'll use the term view tax, but it's not a view tax. They'll be the first
Just
one
a value.
to explain it. But that's based on the comparable sales. So there's a formula, but there's also a bit of an art to it. What's a comparable sale for your house? I mean, you've got lots of land out there, but I'm guessing it's in current use.
It is.
So you have your house and your barn and your garden, and you have a plot of land. We'll call it an acre just for the sake of talking. So you get your house and 1 acre. But that's not comparable to anybody that I can think of in this town. Maybe it is, but I don't know. And so there's that they take anything they can find that's comparable, and then they guess. They guess, and
Right.
every assessor is gonna guess. I'm all for having Lauren in here and explain why my property is up over $300,000. I would love to hear it,
Yeah, I think we should.
but as
And I
far
think
as
our residents would do that. We pay them over $75,000 to do this reval. And people are going to lose their homes. They can't afford the taxes, even with the lower tax rate.
I understand they couldn't afford them before the reval,
Thank you. I agree.
but that's a function of us, kind of, and
Yes, it is.
circumstances.
Yes.
Whether, we have employees and we have contracts and we have insurance. We have all of these things that are pretty much built into our budget. These aren't like toys for the police department. No offense, chief.
But I do think after 20 years, it's time to see what else is out
yeah.
there.
I think one of my,
I'm
if
sure.
I can talk here, one of my biggest concerns is that they said that the commercial values went down more this year. So they didn't raise up the same rate as the real estate that's residential. But they compare that to other commercial values throughout the state. And right now, our corridor through here, Route 3 and 11, we don't have the vacancies. We don't have people leaving stores because, stores fronts are going out. We actually have people who want to go and purchase and buy here. So, and I'm concerned that our commercial values have been underrated, which is going to cause more pressure on the residential.
Mhm.
And I think we should be re-looking at that because we don't have a big vacancy rate. People want to buy the property along this road, and then that's our commercial base.
I don't
that's
think it's
important.
going to, I think it already has.
What's that?
Judging from the people that come into town hall, it's a line. Judging from the people that are
Oh,
calling
yeah,
town
it
hall,
has, yeah.
it's a line. They cannot afford the taxes. It already has affected them.
I mean, if we had said to them, no, we're going to postpone our reval until next year, who knows what the property market would have done next year? And we wouldn't even be talking about this. But nevertheless, here we are, and we did.
Help to get us on the same schedule as Northfield
Northfield.
too. I think theirs is next year, correct?
Yeah, but it's too late. Well, no, if we tell them we
Which
don't
would help
accept
out
them,
the school
then
offset.
That was a future, just to,
Formula.
on that aside, that was a conversation when we had the formula committee about getting all three towns on the same reassessment schedule. So that could help overall, just making sure everyone's on the same
This
reassessment
one's
schedule for the school
hit the
district.
school
Yeah.
tax portion really hard because the other towns haven't had that reassessment.
Didn't we discuss doing this a number of times? And wasn't there a reason that couldn't happen?
Because it already passed time to do it.
It's
It was too late.
We're only a few months away from tax bills being sent out,
Well,
realistically.
tax bills are already sent out, so we
At the
can,
end of the year.
not
I
based
know.
on this assessment. They were based on the old
Right.
assessment.
The ones that went out just now.
Yes.
right.
The ones at the end of the year will be based on
This
that
assessment.
right there.
Mhm.
And the school tax as well, offset. That's going to be a huge part. Fire district,
Just reject the assessment out of hand. Some of those assessments are probably right on.
I don't know, but I think we deserve an explanation.
Tim,
I'm for that.
go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I did today get a pro forma MS1 that shows that the overall town value went up about 58% to $1.11 billion. And in the discussion of taxes and what people can afford, you have to keep in mind that that the tax rate at the end of the year will be adjusted, and it's really based on the increase in budgets of the town, the county, the school, the state school, and the fire district. And so for the town, our budget went up about 3.9%. The fire district went up 14%. The school district was about 2.4%. I don't know about the county and I don't know what the state school is looking at, but the idea is that that the taxes are based off of how much money is needed to run these governmental entities, and then it's a portion based on the values of the individual properties. So if someone's property doubled or tripled, it doesn't mean they're going to pay double or triple the tax. It's all based off of what was approved at these individual meetings during the year and what budget increases were required by those units. So it's difficult, obviously, to project the end of the year without knowing where any of these groups are going to be coming in with their budgets. It's too early in the year to know.
Thank you, Tim, but we can't guarantee our taxes are going to go down. And we cannot guarantee 3 out of that 4 equation. We're only responsible for our town tax. We have no control over fire, school, or county. So it's kind of out of our loop there to see what's happening. And that's what our residents, particularly our seniors, are petrified right now. They can't afford it, and they're coming
You've
in
got
with
new
tears.
homeowners. You know, young people are just bought their first homes. They're gonna lose them.
No, I don't
Are
mean
we
to
in
just
agreement that we should
exclude.
have Lauren come in and explain this to
Sure.
us before we,
Yes.
we're not accepting this?
Yes.
Yes.
And do you want to go out to bid
The end of the year, yeah.
Yep.
for these contracts?
Makes sense. Yeah,
I think after 20 years, we should test the waters.
Right. When was the last time we went out to bid?
In my recollection, we
about
really
9
never
years
have.
ago.
It was
I've
2000,
asked.
2006.
Okay,
Yeah, 9
Yep.
years.
in agreement. Okay.
19.
So we're all in agreement that we should go out for bid, and we're all in agreement that we're gonna ask Lauren to come in next available meeting.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, John?
Done.
Oh, Catherine, are
it?
you done?
Oh, I'm not, yes, thank you. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Yes. Was that enough?
Okay, so I have a few things, and I'm going to start out with one that we're on taxes. So I'm not really sure on this, but it seems like we're charging the same amount for timber tax that we've been for quite a while, but yet the price of lumber and logs has gone up extensively. I don't know, and our town sets that tax amount. So this is what I've been told. So can we find out if we're actually appropriately charging the timber tax? And as you know, we're starting to get a lot of logging done, so we could be losing out on a substantial amount of tax revenue here. They charge per board feet, and everybody knows board feet of lumber went way up, but did our tax cover that? So, that on your list, Tim? Thanks.
I have it, but I'm pretty sure that's set by the
Tim's got to
state.
list it. It's like a ticker tape here.
I think it is set by the state.
Is it?
Yeah.
Somebody informed me it wasn't. That was.
I don't think
it
we
was
set the
Bob
timber
Hardy
tax.
that.
I think where there's a fee. We turn it in
We,
there.
Or fee, or
I don't know.
let's
we
look at that.
receive, we do the portion of it, and the town clerk tax collector collects it, but I don't think we're recipient
The
of it,
municipal
but.
tax, yeah.
Mm.
The next thing is Mr. Rocco. If you recall, he's the one who's going to be the manager, caretaker, running at the formerly the Anchorage Reserve. And he called me up just yesterday asking about the Philbrook graveyard, and he would, if possible, he said it's in really rough shape there, the one that's kind of tucked in there, and if he could provide funds or anything to help, some of the gravestones are tipped over, it's a mess, and to clean it out. And he was wondering what the process would be, and could we assist him, or could he assist the town with that process?
Are you sure he means the Philbrook and not the one that's on the opposite side of the
Yes.
preserve?
Two Philbrooks, the one that's right in the middle of it. Remember when we said they'd park 20 feet away from it?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, the one
Got it.
that's next to what we used to be the yellow house, the yellow
Yep.
house that
Yes.
was there.
Yep.
That's
Yes,
the one I
yeah,
mean.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two brothers.
yes, yeah.
So, I don't know, a little bit of assistance with that. I believe he has to get in touch with the heirs, and there's an RSA regarding that.
It's so
Is it a
that
town
is,
one?
that is the town cemetery to maintain. That was town meeting. Yeah, we've been maintaining it for decades. So it's under the town's ownership, if you will. Anybody can donate to the town and give a specific purpose for that donation.
So, I'd be willing to go up there, take a look, see what needs, what I can help with, because it's the same process. I had permission from the trustees to do the Center Street one there. or the one down by the brewery. I've been doing some graves down there with permission of the trustees and that.
Park
Well, I did the
Street?
Sedgley, Park Street, yeah. I did the Sedgley, I did the ones on the right with all the permission and they wrote letters for that, on which ones I could work on. So I'll take a look. We are allowed access to it, and I'll also confirm with
Yeah,
Mr.
we have a right
Rocco.
of way to it.
We own it, yeah.
The other thing, just curious, the speed sign disappeared. What, do you know what happened to that speed sign that was
movable.
out there? We're just saying how great it was. Actually, oh, is that the one that's, no, it was on a pole.
Sign that we can take that off and move that. That's a
Oh, really?
demo for 90 days. With a couple of solutions.
Nice, yeah. I was hoping nobody took it as a souvenir or something. Yeah. Oh, so- yeah. That's, and the other thing, I know on the previous meeting, we discussed some minutes before, we were discussing the Morrison Ave with, to put the swale in. There was discussion of a berm. There was just all different things. Where is that at? We're halfway through the year.
Waiting for estimates.
That was
That's where we
supposed to
left
be,
it,
that
right?
was
That was
supposed to be
here.
estimate.
Yeah, we were supposed to do
Still
that.
plenty time.
Well, we
Snow
said
hasn't
that
fallen
last
yet.
year and we ended up in the position we're in.
Well,
Can we have that on the agenda for next week? And
at, we'll have it next week. Not on the agenda right now. There's way too much on our agenda right now. We've only got 6 minutes for our public hearing.
no, I've received some concern,
I
people asking about it, and I think
I get it.
of
And I
people
see
that are here
Mr.
now.
Fontaine here. And I'm not putting you off. I just need to,
And there's
have-
another neighbor
Mhm.
here too on that.
we do, maybe after the public hearing, you can present your information. But we've only got literally 6 minutes before our public hearing. So, all right.
That's all I have.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Okay, go ahead. I didn't realize he had. I still have to do mine, but go ahead.
So I've called around. I talked to Pike and they aren't interested in doing any of it. I finally got a hold of Porter Paving and they're going to come up and see if they can get grades so they can get the road lowered so that it will actually work. I was supposed to meet with R&D Paving today, but they ran into issues. So we're going to reschedule that. And I've talked to Ken Partridge Construction, and Stephen is going to meet with me one day next week to go over and see if we can't get some ideas and other options. So we're working on it. We're just waiting. Busy time of year.
Okay. Thank you, Shane. Appreciate it. Okay, next week is Old Home Day. Saturday is the parade. Board, who's going to be on the parade? And are we having the truck ready for the parade? Okay. Who's going to be there? You and you,
Not sure.
3. Okay. You having your granddaughter, Joe?
I might, yeah. Actually, yeah.
Okay,
So
Like
me
that.
plus one.
just for,
Uh, maybe two. I've got a grandson
okay,
who's enamored of big trucks.
that's a good one. Uh, just want it for candy buying purposes. And Monday evening, Old Home Day is Citizen of the Year. We can't divulge who that is, but Tilton and Northfield each have one, so everybody is welcome to that on Monday evening. Took a walk downtown. I was aghast at how much furniture we have in the sidewalks. We now have couches, recliners, tables, chairs, you name it, it's a free-for-all downtown. Um,
Now,
I-
is this people have put out for trash or is this people have put out for their leisure?
It looks like,
Leisure.
yeah, it looks like leisure. I was down there
Do
the
I
other day.
understand? I don't think I was a selectman when it took place, but didn't the selectman a couple of years ago say no more anything on the sidewalk?
No, it didn't pass.
Do we have anything that regulates what goes in the sidewalks?
We do have a sidewalk policy, but
Yeah, I
you have to
thought,
have it within 36 inches so that wheelchairs can get by, but we have a lot of sandwich boards now that if we see them, we let them know that they have to tuck it in and things like that. But it's out of control right now, way out of control.
They shouldn't be lounging on the sidewalk.
Well, they have comfortable
I
fabric
know
chairs. You've
the
seen
area
them.
you're talking about.
Okay.
so that's police or code enforcement.
Okay. Take care of it. No problem.
Yeah, we had an ordinance on that.
We do. You got it?
I'm looking.
Under ordinances and policies on the left.
Well, you'll have a copy of it in hand when you go talking.
Absolutely. Do we have anybody from the state here yet? No, the state.
Will you allow any
Unless,
public comment?
for
I have a question.
a quick one, Chuck? Yeah.
Yeah, we're one of those property owners that have some concern over some of the increase in evaluation, and I am just wondering whether or not the people who will be taking calls next week are going to be in town hall, because we have some documentation and things that we would like to provide prior to our phone call.
Tim, can you answer that question? Because I was told that there was only phone, telephone. I don't know if they're physically going to be in town hall or not.
I don't believe they are. I believe I don't know where they're going to be located, but I'm sure they'll be able to provide an email address to
Can we hear? I can't hear
documentation.
you.
I say they should be able to provide an email address to gather information, but I don't believe they're going to be in town hall, no.
Okay.
Um, the-
Did you hear that, Chuck?
Yes, I had a series of photos and diagrams that I wanted to make sure that they could take a look at when I discussed my property.
Okay. Is it something that we can scan at the town hall and then maybe scan it over to them?
Catherine, excuse me, Pat, I'd be very willing to scan it. It's just a matter of I don't know who to send the file to. And if it was going to be someone at town hall, I would have brought the materials down there and dropped it off.
If you can send it to me, I'll send it directly to her.
Thank you.
Okay.
I sent out a copy of that policy.
I'm sorry, I don't have the names or Okay, everyone, I'm going to turn this over to Brian Pratt from the state to talk about the stop signs that they want to put up on Colby, Clark, and Califf. Get your questions ready.
Should I stand? Great, thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. My name is Brian Pratt. I'm a civil engineer with Fuss & O'Neill in Manchester. Also with me are representatives from the New Hampshire Veterans Home. And we are proposing a building addition at the New Hampshire Veterans Home. So the location is going to be over this parking lot, which we do have a little bit more information that we can share with people if they want more information on that. Can we turn the car? Sure. Either that or I could walk over to one of these TV screens if you want. You want me to go over to that corner? It's up to you. It's up to you. Just so everybody can see. Sure. Do you want me to head over there? Okay, perfect. So, and sorry I was late. The traffic was terrible with the rain and so to give you a little bit of location context, so this is the New Hampshire Veterans Home, this is Colby Road, this is Winter Street, this is Clark Road, and then this is Califf Hill Road. So while we were out there meeting, working on getting the design ready for the new building, we noticed that there was a little bit of a safety issue that we observed. So in talks with the Veterans Home, they had some concerns about their staff. They've heard tires screeching, they've heard near misses. We reached out to the police station. There was only one recorded accident, but I'm pretty sure there have been more that maybe haven't been recorded. But the primary concern is for vehicles coming up to Winter Street. You sit at the stop sign, and I don't know if you can just pan the page down a little bit to show this image. Basically what the problem is a vehicle sitting here. As you look left, you can only see about 150 feet, give or take. And vehicles traveling on Clark Road travel quite fast. So this is a view of me standing there taking a photo. And I kind of superimposed a bright red car so you could see it. But there's an existing pole and there's a number of trees. Because the road basically curves off to the left there. Vehicles travel quite fast there. And while it's not necessary for this project, we wanted to present this as something that, you know, as a civil engineer, I have the duty to try to fix any safety concerns that I see. The last thing I want is somebody to get hurt near one of my projects. Even though our project doesn't have anything really to do with this, we want to make sure it's safer. So what we're proposing is, so this red vehicle, this is a car sitting here. It's a little bit blown up just so you can see it. And then this is a vehicle driving on Clark Road. Speed limit, I believe, is 35, but anybody that's driven that road, I'm pretty sure everyone goes 40, 45, maybe more. If you could just pan down just a little bit to show more of the bottom, please. So this red line is about 150 feet. Typically, we like to have 400 feet of sight distance. And the reason for that is because people have reaction time. So you're looking, you know, this guy sitting here looking to the left, he needs enough time to make that left turn. So he needs to be able to see cars coming. 150 feet, he only has 2.5 seconds. For a car traveling at 40 miles an hour, in 2.5 seconds, he'll be here. That's not enough reaction time for him to decide to make that turn. It's also not enough reaction time for this guy to stop. If he hit the brakes immediately, okay, he could probably stop. You're looking at your phone. People aren't supposed to, but you know they do. You're changing the station. Your kid in the back is yelling at you, throw through their shoe and hit you in the back of the head. It's a concern of mine. Really, we should be able to see back to here. This is 400 feet. This is ideal. 350 feet is okay. That will leave you enough time. We cannot possibly get even close to that amount of sight distance no matter what we did. This is all private land. There's all these beautiful trees. There's the pole. We can't, you know, clear cut all of those trees and wipe out that person's front yard. I don't know if they're here. So the solution that I propose, if you could flip up to the page 1, we're on page 2. Thank you. So this is the same area, you know, Winter Street, Clark. Took the cars off and I faded back the image a little bit. The proposal is to put a stop sign here and to put an advanced warning stop sign here. So what that does is it warns people that are driving 40 whatever miles an hour. Oh, okay, I have to stop. So they start to slow down. They come to a complete stop. Much, much safer intersection. We're proposing to add a stop sign on this side as well, just because you can't really have a two-way stop that runs through. It'll cause confusion. People will not realize that it's not a three-way stop, and that could cause us a dangerous. So the sight distance here is okay. The sight distance here is terrible. So anybody driving this way, you can't really see anything. I know there were some concerns about this distance between here and here about, you know, cars waiting to turn. This is 150 feet. You can fit 6, 7 cars in there before they backed up beyond this. I don't think it'll be a problem. I don't think cars will be backing up. I don't think they'll cause any confusion or issues. So it's pretty safe, pretty simple improvement, significant safety improvement. This is technically a DOT road, but the town also has control over it as well. So we did run by the DOT. They acknowledged that there's a safety problem. They did say that this plan is something that they would support, provided the town supports it. So we came to the select board. We discussed it. The select board wanted to get the general public involved. So here we are. I think that covered it. Brian, did it cover it pretty good? Okay. So yeah, I'm happy to take questions.
Will there be a stop sign?
Yes. Yeah, there's a stop sign there now. These are double yellow. You know where you are, and this will be a stop bar, so it's white.
And I travel Colby Road quite a bit. My concern is if you put a stop sign at the end of at the corner there for Colby Road, you have a downhill slope right there. In the wintertime, it's going to be all ice, and you won't be able to start back up. So you don't show the um, parking driveway for the veterans home on that also. That's close that off because the come out of there, the people, the employees come out of there without stopping anyway. And I travel that road quite often, and I think it's ridiculous that they're going to put a stop sign on Colby Road because of the slope. And is the state or the town going to constantly maintain that in the wintertime? No, they will not.
The building will be going in this location, and it'll just be a service drive here. So there's access to their oxygen tanks, and there's a couple of just service parking spaces. So this parking will be shifted onto the other side of the site. So there'll be a significant reduction in people.
Still come off Colby Road.
There is a service drive entrance here, but it's
That should be cut off.
It's not
There'll only be like 3 parking spaces in that area.
Yeah, but I'm right with.
They're putting in a new building
Yeah.
there, and their employee parking is going to in the back, right?
Are they going to come off Winter Street?
Can you open that other PDF that I have? I can show you what the proposed building, that might answer. Great. So, so there's a parking lot here, and I think if you roll down the page a little bit, if you can zoom out just a little or roll out the page, there's another parking lot down on the south. Show. So they'll still be using that. Yeah. So there's the back drive around, and then yeah, if you just roll up a little bit. Yeah. So this parking lot on that corner, that's going away, and this is just a service drive. So the veterans home will just have. Quite a bit flatter up here. It's fairly flat for the first 50 or 60 feet. I think the concern of somebody driving 50 miles an hour, going somebody coming. The problem is they can't
Steve,
see.
you need the mic again?
Let some other people get some testimony.
I think they might be stopping, or they may not be stopping, but even if they are, they can only see 100.
All right, Steve, we'll
Dennis Manning, 56 Calefield Road. I'm really,
Hey, Pat, I still have the right to talk. So
I know you do.
Don't
but you're,
cut me back.
if I asked you if you'd like the mic and you didn't want the mic, if you want to still talk, I'll give you the mic back.
Okay.
Thank you.
anyway, is this thing, yeah. Anyway, I'm very excited. When I heard about this, I'd like to see the stop signs at the Calefield Road. I come there, stop sign on Winter Street. I don't know who's like blowing it, the stop sign, because that's very hazardous. You can't really do that. As far as the road conditions, I don't think it's going to pose a problem coming up that hill, frankly. The DPW keeps it pretty well salted and sanded. I mean, yeah, if you get a immediate snow, it might get a little slick right there. Other than that, I don't see any hazards. I call it the bypass. It's the Tilton bypass. And you know what? 45 miles an hour, that's being, people go way fast. This thing ain't working. But people go a lot faster than that on that road, both ways. And I will tell you, there's a lot of shift change. I will agree. I'm not trying to, bash the home, but there's a lot of scrubs that come out of their shift change, and they're in a hurry to go up there, and they come flying up over that hill. So the visibility from that entranceway or exit where they're coming out of there, that's a very short distance to that intersection.
Yeah, we'll definitely have the veterans home presentation to them.
But a
let
stop
alone
sign would be
dangerous.
perfect, it'll slow them down, because
Exactly.
they'll be backed up a little bit.
Exactly. So, yeah. Thank you.
Anyone else? Talk like this, okay?
Yes, I do.
Stanley Brown, Cale Hill. It seems if the building is going where it is and the veterans home employees are concerned about pulling out, they're not pulling out where you're putting the proposing the stop signs. Where they're coming out is down the road a little bit, and you're not taking into account the hill coming up is more of a blind spot than the people coming to the left. So the employees coming out of the veterans home in the new parking area where they're coming from, that's more dangerous of the people coming to their from their right than from their left. And by putting to possibly have the stop signs in the wrong spot.
You accepting more comment?
Are you saying here, vehicles waiting here can't see cars coming this way? Right.
Employees are concerned about pulling out into this intersection. Not going to be pulling out into this intersection anymore.
Blind there.
This
Really blind.
is blinder
Yeah.
than this.
So
And if there is a concern about foliage on the road, it's a possibility you can contact the owner of this plot and ask him if he can allow the town to clean it, or a little eminent domain of a certain, 5-6 feet, safety reasons could be cleared out. I think not only is this an issue that could possibly need a stop sign, that's gonna be the issue.
But for a private driveway, you can't add stop signs. Have them for a public street, but we can definitely add a stop sign here for vehicles. But there's nothing we can do like
This.
on that street other than,
Some
keeping
people
the
want it,
vegetation
some people
clear
won't.
in the driveway.
A lot of people that don't build this stuff get stop signs, and they're never going to.
it is, it's a curve and hill. It's completely blind.
And have they done a traffic count for all three roads? I think it should be done just to make sure, because right now there's so much traffic that comes across that road because the people don't want to go downtown Tilton because it's a delay, and at night they come up School Street and goes down that way, so they don't have to sit at the lights and Tractor Supply. It'll tell kids of what type of quantity of traffic is going up and down the road. But they got to do the traffic count right, not from 10 o'clock in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. No, they got to do it in the evening from like 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock because the people are going home. They're trying to avoid all the traffic downtown Tilton.
What would that change?
But
What would the traffic count change?
it'll give you an idea if they have to really do complete intersection for that whole area.
That's not.
It is an issue because there's so much traffic on that road now. There's so much traffic on Colby Road, and I know School Street there is, and they don't slow down by my house, and they go by my house at least 60 miles an hour.
Purpose of this hearing.
Right, I understand that. I'm asking do a traffic count.
You get to talk to the safety about this
Okay, I thought you represented the city. Why don't we have the state here right now telling us what's going on? Because it is a state-maintained road. This is useless if you're just representing the veterans home. Nothing against the vet. I'm a vet myself.
I'll reiterate, I'm here because I noticed a significant concern.
Shit.
Right.
I was concerned for my own safety, so
I'm concerned of my safety to drive Cable
I
Road.
genuinely thought that people would want a safety improvement. I didn't think people. I appreciate it.
So, Mari Princiata, I bought the Veterans Home on Winter Street, so I'm really close to the intersection. And I am in full support of the three-way stop. I think it is I know I stop at the top of Winter Street. There's a lot of kids that come up and down that street. Um, and I think it's not only, I mean, we've got two schools right there. So I think it's long overdue. I did have a question. Has this already gone? Has everything already gone to the planning board? Gone through the planning board?
So we can present a little bit about the proposal in the building. So they don't technically have to go to the planning board, it's a state-owned facility.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So we did go to the select board and we did a presentation to the select board about this and about the safety improvement. And we're still in really early stage. But things with the DOT take a long time. So I do have plans and I can go through those plans to kind of inform this as once everyone's satisfied with the safety improvement, I can share and talk about the building and stuff. But yeah, we won't have to go through the formal planning.
Are you accepting more comments?
You can, tell us, you can relay them to the town select board or the town manager, and we can try to incorporate concerns into our final design. So we're at schematic design, so basically like a little bit higher than. So this is.
Can I make a comment?
One after you, Chuck. You're going to be next, all right?
Yep.
Go ahead.
How you doing? Dana DeCormier, Califf Hill Road. On the proposed signage, do you have any thoughts on a blinking light or any other type of stop signs where they have the solar and they have the lights surrounding the perimeter of the sign?
We didn't plan anything like that. That's something that, just the lights, something we could talk to the DOT about, we could talk to the select board about. We were just
Yeah, I could see that improving your sight distance to see the stop with the blinking flashing. I know a couple years ago they just did that down the intersection of 140 and 107 Gilmanton Corners, and that's made a huge difference over there. And as far as sight distance things, and you're right, Ollie, on the foliage that needs to be cut back. Also in the wintertime, they need to push the corners back between the plowing and they leave half it in the road. So that needs to be addressed as well. So there's a lot of little things that add up to big things. The stop sign at the end of Califf Hill Road, instead of in the bushes on the right, should be more straight on because they like to eat the bushes over there when they don't stop. So yeah, there's a lot of things. And I can't wait for them to build the super speedway on Califf Hill Road so they can really wreck them up. And Winter Street as well.
Okay, Chuck, you're up.
Yeah, as a resident on Caleb Hill Road, I often go up Winter Street and then zig over and up Caleb Hill Road. And I will tell you that every time that I pull off a Winter Street onto Colby, I feel like I'm taking my life in my hands because of the traffic that's headed toward Franklin. So I am totally in support of this project. Thank you.
I'm Jay Woodward. I live on Chestnut Street, but I do walk and I run and walk up sometimes to the Veterans Home and back. It can be dangerous at the top of that. I gotta just be very careful. So sometimes I have to dodge out of the way when I see a car. Cars coming. It's just they're going so fast. So I am in total support of this. And plus, when I do drive up to the top of Winter Street, I do have to really take that extra. You have to take that extra couple looks though. So I do have the support. Another question I have, I probably the DOT would be better able to. I know the speed limit on Winter is 30, and then all of a sudden, just before you get to the top of the hill, it turns to 35. I was wondering if maybe in that section of around this place they could maybe a petition to drop the speed limit to 30. If that might actually be just for that section, this little section, and then.
Yeah, that's the DOT and the town. They handle all those. the districts 3 and the town, probably through the town manager, through the select board, right? And that can be taken up directly. I'm trying to limit my scope to like what I observed. We could keep going forever, right? I did want to point out a couple things we didn't really get into though. So the proposal is for the stop sign to be located right at the intersection, right at the stop bar. We're also proposing an advanced warning sign because, as the sight distance isn't good. So as you're coming around here, you won't see that stop sign until you come around that corner. So we're proposing a stop sign ahead in a location that you actually can see it for like 300 or 400 feet. So that will help people know that there's a stop sign coming. It's a change. People are used to what they are used to. You oftentimes won't notice things like that. So we're also proposing an orange warning sign, temporary. So this would be like 6 months, give or take. People see orange a little bit better. It's more like a construction sign. So we think that the combination of the orange, then the yellow advanced, and then the actual stop sign, hopefully people will see it and understand. And if we keep it there for 6 months, then it will become, normal.
One more question. I know that, for that there for Clark Road, the proposed stop sign, is it possible to have 2 stop signs, one on the left hand and one on the right hand side? Just so that would actually, I think that would, when the foliage comes in, at least you got 1 stop sign. Because I see that there's plenty of other intersections you see that have that. Yes.
It's a good idea. I like it because you can see the other side. Unfortunately, it doesn't meet the stop sign on the other.
You can't. I thought that's not compliant. I didn't think that wasn't compliant. Wow.
No, only if it's a one-way. If it's a one-way street, you can have stop signs on both sides, but the
Oh,
stop sign
okay.
has to be on the side of the travelway.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, because even the shape. So somebody coming the other direction might see that octagon shape and think stop sign maybe just faded away.
Oh,
and it might
okay.
cause confusion. So
That makes sense.
Yeah. Good idea.
Yeah, because that makes sense why you see 2 stop signs on the off ramps from 90.
Yeah, because it's one.
Was wondering if you have looked at what's going to be the major soldier home entrance to the west, the one that's existing now.
This one here?
No, I mean to the east, rather, to the east. And yeah.
No, I mean, our scope of work is primarily just this intersection. We're proposing a dumpster here. And if there's no more traffic questions, I can go through kind of the site plan layout. But no, we haven't really studied that. We were kind of just focusing on was the direct signs are a couple $100 each.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could buy yourself a little more the main entrance now. If you towards down the hill a little bit.
We'll be happy to take a look at it. Yeah.
That would be people coming out there.
Yeah, I know there's some wetlands over there, but we will take a look at that.
So thank you, Selectman Constantino. On that entrance that the gentleman was just talking about, just a thought, if it was enter only, it would eliminate problems, and then they could exit on the south side onto Winter Street. So if that was an entrance only, where the employees could just enter in on that side, we won't have a conflict. And that's speaking from someone who literally 3 days ago was almost clipped by a car coming out of that entrance. It is a real bad blind spot with that curve and with the dip down, et cetera. So if the veterans home could ever be convinced to make that an entrance only for employees, and then employees have to exit out the southern access road onto Winter Street, it would definitely help issues that might occur there.
Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at that.
We can definitely do that. The only concern I have is we also.
You want to introduce yourself?
Sorry, I'm Brian Baker, Chief Operating Officer of the Veterans Home. So I'm learning a lot that I need to look into when I get back to work. So I will be giving the same presentation to our staff and letting them know your concerns. We can certainly do an entrance only for this
entrance here. The problem is this is our main warehouse, so we have 18 wheelers that come in here that can't make this road. We are in the process of, by shrinking this parking lot, we're adding another parking lot out front. So I think we're going to gain all these staff that were coming on this end are now going to be out front. So that's another project we're working on. But I'm definitely willing to make that an entrance only for staff, just with the understanding that we're still going to have some deliveries, not as often as staff, obviously. So it's not a bad idea. That's an easy fix. The other easy fix is there's a lot of shrubbery on this road that the state likes to tell us they don't own. It's on us. So if we can clean that up, we'll do that as well.
The only concern is if you're dumping out onto Winter Street, try to slow the traffic down.
Yeah.
It's not unusual, so if you can slow them down.
That'd be an enforcement issue. What's that? Enforcement. We already have a speed limit there that's fairly reasonable, 30 miles an hour.
No, if they drove 30, it'd be fine.
Yes.
But
No.
30
But
is,
they don't.
the only people that drive 30 are the people that live there and the van. Everybody else is 60 and more.
Coming up Colby Road, people like zoom up that hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was documented, there were 2 accidents, but it must have been in front of your house recently. And then last week we had another car that was coming too fast up Colby and they couldn't keep it on the road and they almost hit some of our staff, one of which was my daughter, and went right in the ditch.
You need a mic. All right, I'll take the mic. For the minutes.
So I'm also in a butter on Colby Road side. So one thing that the state, I work for the state. So one thing that we have also started to look at is traffic entering signs. When you have a corner like that, coming up and around that hill, everyone's right. You can't see anyone out of there. So there's signs that light up. So you have a tractor trailer pulling out of there. If they're pretty long. It takes them some time to get out into the road there. So if you have a sign like that, it activates when there's a truck pulling out. Just to, if someone doesn't pay attention to it, that's on them. But it at least gives people some sort of advance warning that, hey, there's a truck pulling out here that you may encounter as you come up around this corner. So entrance only is a great idea. Cycling the people out through the main entrance, there's definitely way better visibility there. Unfortunately, the speed, if that's also a problem, that's a different problem. But if we can eliminate, as many cars as possible turning out of there, I think that's a great idea.
A paving project here, adding a parking lot out front. We're actually repaving all of the parking lots, so there'll be a lot of paving activity in the next probably month. So those trucks will be in and out as well.
Just a quick alibi. I didn't realize this was going to be about the veterans home. I'm being a little bit selfish. I'd still like to see a stop sign from Clark Road when you're coming off of Winter Street, because that's my hazard. Veterans home is not such a hazard for me as everybody that comes flying up over that hill from Clark Road, because maybe that, I don't think this is working, but
You gotta talk into it.
no. The Clark Road, when you're coming up Clark Road at Winter Street, that's when you want to cross there, because I live on Caleb Road, so I come up and then I go on to Calebville Road. That's where they come flying up over. And that's probably why I saw that white car in the ditch on its side down there at the Veterans Home entrance.
That was the reason. That was last.
We have one more question.
Just to cut out the middleman, if anyone has any questions they want to get directly to the Veterans Home, I can hand out my card, especially to neighbors.
We have one more question.
Thanks, Pat. Bob Hardy, I live on Winter Street, diagonally across from your south entrance. And I think this is great with the stop signs, but a couple things
of my concern is an additional building up there that's taking permeable ground away. We already get flooding every time it rains coming off the building, and you guys did away with the 3-foot ditch down in front of your property. That water comes down, jumps the road, and comes down on the other side of Winter Street, which was never planned for. And the other thing is making the south end your excess. That gets very slippery in the winter. There's a hill there, and I've seen cars come skidding right across Winter Street and slam into the snowbank. Or they need more turn radius so the town plows the the snowbank between the road and the sidewalk onto all the residents coming from your driveway south towards town. And it doesn't seem, I mean, if you look at the right of way is on the veteran side of the driveway of Winter Street. Winter Street has the sidewalk, which takes up all of your right of way for Winter Street. So it really needs to be looked at closely.
Just quickly, so up until this year, we were contracting out of our plowing. So starting this year, we do all of our own plowing. So we have 24-hour plowing service on site. One of the main reasons was that front hill, because it's not just for staff, but we get ambulances in and out, and it was dangerous. If an ambulance couldn't get up the hill, that's a problem. So we really, this year, are going to be focused on making sure that is plowed. And the other thing we started is the I don't know, the town or the state, whoever plows, the snowbank on this corner gets pretty high. So I've asked them starting this year to start using our equipment to move that snowbank and dump it out behind the building.
So this is our site plan. So the existing parking lot and the building are pretty identical. So we're putting a new building over that existing parking lot. It's 14,000 square feet. And how many new rooms? 20 new rooms. What they're doing is they're taking a lot of the double rooms and splitting them into single rooms. So there's no new residents. They're same number of beds. They're just expanding to give more private single rooms. So this is the new building addition. Like I said, it's primarily over the existing footprint of the parking lot. This area is our service drive. So there's a couple of parking spaces for, like facility staff, most likely. There's a couple of ADA accessible spaces. And then this is the oxygen delivery. And then we have some stairs that are being added. We did hear that stormwater was an issue. We're reducing the amount of stormwater that's coming here right now. Basically, that whole parking lot just sheets off, and we understand that it, gets into there, it undermines the road. So we are capturing all of the roof, almost all the roof drain. Like there'll be a peak. So most of the roof that comes this way, we're going to capture, and we're putting in a new detention basin over here, and we're routing it down this way. So we will be reducing the amount of stormwater that comes. So I think it'll help. I'm not saying it's going to solve the problem.
And on top of that, when we add the parking out front, so I know where your house is. So when we add the parking out front, we're adding more drainage and catch basins up front as well.
Thank you, Brian.
Great.
I think we're kind of limited for time, so going over the site plan is going to be very difficult for us to be able to go into it again.
Okay.
All right. We've had 2 public hearings on this already.
Yeah.
Stop signs, everybody's okay with that? I'm going to just go ahead and close it.
Just to reiterate, so working with the DOT, they asked us to get the town to basically sign a request letter. We had drafted a letter to the select board for them to review. That's when they invited the public out. So it sounds like the layout that we had with the 2 new stop signs, the permanent advanced warning signs, and then the temporary yellow advanced warning signs, another 100 feet back. I understand there's a lot of other concerns with traffic, not really part of this scope, but I do encourage you to reach out to the DOT District 3 and your select board, and maybe some other improvements can come out of that.
I've been, one more thing, Brian, I've just been asked as a show of hands, how many are in favor of the stop signs, please? Okay, thanks. There you go.
Perfect.
All right.
So I believe Tim has
Opposed?
our letter.
All right. No, I'm not opposed. I just was trying to tell you to raise your hand. Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you all very much. I really appreciate everyone showing up and all the great questions and feedback. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Very much.
It makes it easy.
Oh, yeah. I don't live there, so.
Yeah.
See my wife? She said somebody keeps coming in and asking for you. It's like, well, tell them no.
I don't think they should keep that egress. It's so close to the intersections. Ingress, egress. Oh, they wouldn't get it, no, because it's too close to the stop intersection. Yeah, they don't need that. They can fix it so they have just a two ingress, egress as well. One's just gonna be an ingress.
Yeah, and I think certain people stopping there and all that. I get what we have the lights and that. We would like street lights that were put in town,
Yeah.
just dangling.
They haven't reduced the runoff because sheet flow off a roof is a lot different than rain falling to the ground. It concentrates it.
Yeah, and also
Yeah, it just, yeah.
Tim, you coming up here? You're next. Town administrative report.
Look at the Lowe's development. All of that runoff is supposed to be underground.
I saw it.
Remember when they first built it? The flood?
Oh, yeah.
Their retaining pond failed?
Yeah, and at the exact same time we had in 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah.
All right, let's go, folks.
They weren't prepared for
Clear
it.
the room.
What's that?
Clear the.
All right, folks, we're going to start our regular meeting. Thank you.
Nice try. They never know.
6:44.
Okay, so. Are you ready? Can you hear me? Are we red or green?
We're going to
Green,
make a decision
I know.
on this, or
Uh,
later?
Tim will have something for us to sign next week
Next meeting.
I want to discuss
on the
do it at the next meeting.
stop signs.
Yeah, we can do it at the next
Do
meeting.
you want to make a
Do it right
motion?
now.
I'd do it
Yep.
now. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion to go ahead with the proposal, or do you? Go ahead. What do you want to do?
I want them to get rid of that third ingress and egress they have right there at the intersection. In today's world, if they applied for that and there was a stop sign there, they wouldn't get it because it's so close to the intersection.
Third egress meaning
The one
Ingress
closest
and
to
egress,
Winter.
it's closest to the intersection of Colby and Winter.
The one that the service one that they're going
The
to
one
have
that they're gonna,
for service.
so the employees theoretically won't use it, just service vehicles, but it's still so close
Okay, I
to the
get you.
stop sign.
I get you.
They have two others.
Okay.
They certainly, now that they're designing this, could reestablish that.
Okay.
As far as the stop signs, I don't live there. It was obvious that the residents are good with it, so I'm good with it.
Yeah.
But is that a feasible thing? Because the service, if I remember correctly, and Brian's still out in the hallway, but that service is the vehicle in which the oxygen truck comes in and out.
But they can connect it right to the other drive too. They should look at that.
No, it's in between two buildings.
No, it was, they have a detention pond up there. They got the building.
They get this, and then the building's there and detention pond. They could, and the driveway's there.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah, but are we supporting the 3 stop sign solution?
I'm in favor
There's
that
no
Three
detention
stops is
pond
2
here
stop signs.
Yeah,
'cause
they
at all.
said there
It's
was.
just a service
New-
entrance
new
to,
ones. Correct. Yeah.
That doesn't show it though.
Brian, quickly.
Can we get the stop sign stuff done still?
Well, this is part of the stop sign because it's the egress to the third egress, and that's part of the stop sign.
Could I come sit up here?
You can, sure.
Okay. What's the
We're
question?
trying to decide, we're going to take some votes here and on this particular subject, but there is mention of taking away the third egress, which is the service entrance to the side of the building, which used to be the employee parking lot, where your now new building is going.
Right.
Correct.
This, yeah. What's the question?
No, not that down here. It's going to be up here.
They just pointed to it.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
service,
he's
the
just got
service
it
one.
upside down.
So right now it's right here, and it has the big parking lot is right there. So we're shifting it over a little bit.
And then it's service only.
So it's oxygen delivery.
Yep.
And then there are a couple of like facility maintenance parking spaces, and a couple of ADA spaces for basically for really for like the governor, right? When the governor comes and there's special events, the town hall is right here. So these are like VIP parking areas primarily. So
it's only for oxygen and
oxygen delivery, a couple of ADA spaces so that people can get to the recreational hall easily.
what would be,
Fire department access. So this was designed so that a fire truck could turn around.
what would be,
Access through here?
No, there's a 20-foot grade change.
okay, so what would be the traffic, do you think, on a daily basis in and out?
2-3 cars tops,
Yeah,
right?
tops. There
Okay.
really shouldn't be any. It's more reserved spots and then 2 handicap spaces.
Okay,
So it wouldn't be.
Yeah, this is so that, the handicap spaces are, like I said, if there's an event at the town hall, that's where they have a lot of their events. This is a direct shot right to that. So this is the closest route. So we wanted to provide a couple of additional ADA spaces. And like I said, this is just for maintenance parking.
got it. All right.
Good.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any other?
We're good.
Thanks so much.
I appreciate it, Brian.
Motion to approve the stop signs.
Second. All right. Motion is made to approve the stop sign proposal and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Okay.
knew they wouldn't move that.
Well, it's just going to evolve to. Okay. So
Okay.
town administrator's report.
So
Settle
We're
in,
going to
folks.
skim through this,
I am going to
right?
skim. Yeah, we're going to be pretty quick here. I did want to point out in your to be signed folder is the auctioneer's agreement for the property. So please make sure everybody signs that. You had voted on it at your last meeting. You've already discussed upcoming events. There is an agreement in your binder, just amending and extending the agreement with Rusty's Towing. And I want to be sure that the board is in agreement to extend it for up to 60 days. As you recall, we did an agreement with him to be able to have access for a car for the building inspector and with the ability to return that within 60 days. We need additional time because the Tahoe is not yet upfitted and online. So until that's done, we won't be able to make available the 13 police sedan for the building inspector.
Yes.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I will contact Rusty. Of course, this is, assuming that he's going to be good with that. Then next you have the estimates for the first floor air conditioning. And there was one that we did not hear back from, but you see there are 3 estimates there for the mini splits. And the first one also has an estimate for replacing the 5-ton unit. The others were asked for the 5-ton quote, but have yet to receive that from them. The third estimate there includes all electrical services. The other two might have some electrical service depending upon the power that's on the back wall that currently powers the 5-ton unit.
Are you trying to say that that unit that hangs on the outside of town hall is going to weigh 5 tons?
No, no.
It's no. It's the
cooling
compressor,
capacity.
the cooling capacity.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that stuff. When I looked at that, I was like,
It
That's wrong.
indicates how much space it can and the volume that it can air condition. In any event, it is a larger unit. It will require a separate company to put in a rack to hold it. It's heavier and taller and wider than the old one. Then you see items 2 and 3 on each of these 3 quotes. These are the mini splits. The first vendor and the third vendor both use Mitsubishi equipment. The second vendor uses Fujitsu equipment. And you can see the number of condensers. The condensers are the items that are on the exterior wall. And then the interior units, where you see 3-12 on the first one, that indicates that there are 3 12,000 BTU units and 1 9,000 unit and 3 6,000 units. In addition, the item 3, this was for the stage, which the board had wanted a follow-on quote from each of these. And so this is to be able to provide high heat and air conditioning on the stage so that is a more useful space to the town year-round. And as you can see the costs on each one of these, the first vendor is $34,000 for the mini splits. On the first floor, $7,000 for the mini split on the stage. The second has $37,500 for the mini splits for the first floor. However, they are quoting 2 exterior condenser units, and they have a little different configuration of the interior units. And then the stage has the high heat mini split for $11,500, and the third quote is again 2 exterior condensers, interior units. There's 6 of them, and that quote's $47,900, including all electrical services. And then the stage high heat mini split is $10,800, and it's indicated as an indoor-outdoor wall unit in that area. So in any event, those are the quotes. The first is the least expensive, but again, the first and second may require some electrical services. The electric is for all the interior splits come directly off of the condenser itself. So the only place where we would need the electrical service would be probably when we add the stage unit on that back wall, and possibly for the exterior units. If you went with number 2, with 2 condensers, it may require additional service on that back wall. The first one might be able to handle that.
How much money did we spend on the new furnace?
27,000.
27,000.
I'm sorry?
27. And the number 1 put that in.
And we only got 1 quote to replace the existing air conditioning?
That's correct. I asked all 3 for quotes for that. And the downside of the existing air conditioning is the rack, and then we're still, we still have the issue of the ducts, the first floor ducts. In other words, we'll have the same airflow as what we had before.
After looking at the airflow, presently in the town clerk's tax collector's office, the duct is completely 100% covered with the desk.
Yeah.
So that would explain why over the years we haven't had anything going on in there. The other thing is just last year, it wasn't giving a lot of air, and I went around and looked, and all of the ducts, the grates were all shut, bent, broken, and jammed up.
They're in bad shape. Yeah.
And so we just replaced all those, put on all new covers.
I can tell you, we're also, with the existing units that are in place in the last 3 days, we've been popping breakers. We have to be very careful to keep the lights off and only run certain things during the cooling. So it was particularly bad today and yesterday. But we're getting through it. But in any case, those are the quotes, and I anticipated that we would source half of the funds from the capital reserve for infrastructure and half of it from ARPA, depending upon which you wanted to go with. And if you need more information, I'm happy to go back to any of them and get more information for your next meeting next week.
I like the idea of the mini splits. I don't think, given the space that we have in the rooms, I think that we're limited with the desks and where they go and what they do. So duct space is pretty limited. We're always going to have that issue in that town clerk tax collectors and the TA space. It's always been either very hot or very cold, one or the other. I think that the mini splits are going to solve that issue, particularly with this week when we have those separate air conditioners running throughout. It's made a difference. So I would go with the mini splits. I would go with number one for two reasons. It is the low bid, and we already have experienced their work at Town Hall and at the Senior Center.
I would go with the number one. For the $16,000, it's less than half the cost. It's installed a lot quicker because it's just one unit. Doesn't involve mounting things in all the ceilings, running all of the condenser, the coils back and forth, along with the condenser drain, because each one has to have a drain in it to drain the condensed moisture out of it. And moving all our ceiling tiles to get through to there and cutting through the back of the building, hanging multiple condensers on there, running wires to it, all that. And, the new HVAC is 5-ton unit is very efficient, and cutting a hole in the floor for those ducts is a lot more simple. They would just come in, or whoever did it, would take the old unit out, put the new one in, do the sheet melt, connect it up, and move any ducts if we have to. The basement's all wide open for vents, you can see them. Done real quick and for less than half the cost.
So that price did not include the rack on the back of the building or the vent work. And then one other thing, the mini splits utilize a hose, for lack of a better term, that contains the return drip as well as
So they
there's
have
a number
a
of
pump in it.
They have
pump the
everything in
water
there.
back out to
Yeah.
it. So each one has to pump the water from the condenser that catches in the ceiling there out to the back of the building, and they'll have the return and the feed lines for the coolant, and an electrical line for the fans for each one. Either way, gotta get done.
Go ahead, Joe.
The mini splits might be save us money on electric, because you don't set one temperature for the whole building, you set it in each zone. But that said, I gotta concur with John on this one. You don't have to reinvent town hall. We have to put in some new grates and a rack out, or new vents and a rack out back. But it's got to come in less than 34 grand, I would think. And then the stage high heat mini split, I guess. I would take that if we're gonna heat the stage and cool the stage. That seems like the proper way to go.
I think the stage, having used it for all these years, uh, considering the cost they want just to heat that one space or cool that one space, I think one of the floor model air conditioners out in the hallway in that window would help cool that space down enough to use it. I think we spent $24,000 on that, or $27,000 on that furnace. They need to figure out why there's no heat on the stage.
I can tell you that
The
there's no
file
zone on it.
cabinets.
Well, that file cabinets in the zone, I don't believe the zone was ever connected up there.
That's a lot
Needs,
cheaper
yeah,
than.
and when Chris the fellow Can Man, install it, and I point out, he said that yes, we could add zones to that and a separate pump, so then that would be all controlled for heat from
That's going
off
to
of
be a
that
lot cheaper
original
than
furnace, and then
the mini
you
split.
just have
And
to
we
do it.
already own the window units.
Yeah, so
Just bought them.
yeah, cheaper is better. And I think that would solve the problem. I agree with Joe and John. I can't justify spending 34,000 and all these other prices. We only have a few weeks out of the year that it's this hot. This week was an unusual week.
We'll have
So if
another.
we're going to do something, I'm more inclined to fix the existing. Definitely don't need the heat from the mini splits, and I don't think we're going to get that amount of savings over the life of the mini splits in electrical.
I think the linchpin would be just finding out exactly what the rack attachment and the additional ducts would cost. So if we find that out and it comes in below what the other ones are, I think that going lower would be better. Oh,
I agree, let's do that.
Your motion? Get it going? So
Well,
moved.
we want more information.
I can ask that vendor for the cost. He said he'd have to get another company to quote the rack
Mount
for
that on the wall.
to mount that because of the size. And
Vent movement.
I'll have to ask him if he's. I would think he'd be able to do the vent movement. You know, and that's.
For the town clerk, tax collector.
Yeah, those are
I would think
those
so.
are easy. I've done them.
But, so we're all set with going with the number one.
So do you?
We're
That's-
also going for more information right now, right?
If he finds out,
Well, before we actually spend the money, we get the other quotes for what the vents are gonna
you want to
cost.
wait another week before Tim moves on it.
This is not something that has to be done today.
It
We
isn't?
have cooling.
Well, this
It's
heat
blowing
wave,
fuses.
This heat wave is over.
But
And it's an unusual for this
did you
time
listen
of
to
year.
did you listen to the weather? It's another one coming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week.
It's supposed to be in the 80s and 70s.
Not what I heard.
That's
but
not
That's normal.
95,
That's
99.
not normal. That's
If
not.
we can get something before then, I'm willing to pop in, or if somebody can do phone or Zoom or whatever we gotta do, I think that's a.
Well, I'll ask him for the company that he would recommend for the rack and see if we can get a quote on that. And I'll ask him to requote vents that would make sense. And then did you want me to ask him about the zones or leave that for another time upstairs on the stage?
Oh, you should ask him because you got to have heat up there.
Before winter, that's not gonna be a.
Yeah, we
So
don't have
we
to.
can hold on that.
Not an
Okay.
essential.
But you can get him thinking about it and
He probably knows exactly
yeah,
off his head on
get a
that.
price from him.
Okay, I'll work on that. Other than that, you can see the other items down at the bottom that are going to need to be discussed in a subsequent meeting. On the next page, I'll go through this with you in non-public, but it's just an update on the town administrator search and where we are. And then also item 5, the number of evaluations have been done and we have them scheduled for this evening and overflow for next week. And then item 6, 6A and 6B, C and D, E and F are all current activities that were going on. We've got a new group of candidates to look for another open position. The board will be interviewing a candidate tonight for DPW. And then, as already has been discussed, Morrison Avenue, and I'm meeting McFarland Johnson on Academy Street next week, and they're going to be working on some ideas there. But they did suggest maybe a contractor with a design build would be a better solution, but they're coming to take a look at it. Vest Pocket Park, I'm waiting on quote from Andover Fence for the post replacement. Civil War Monument was a little more involved because of issues of trees and access, and the audit work is progressing. All the other items on 7 and 8 are informational and have yet to be addressed. So that is the extent of my report.
I have a question on 7. Actually, I have 2. What is the grant opportunity on A? What is that for? Anything in particular?
I do not know as yet.
Okay, and C, have we talked to the abutter about diverting the runoff from their roof?
No, there's been no activity on those items
Can we
at the
do
top
that as
there.
soon as possible? Since that seems to be a huge factor in it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can we talk about the senior center bus?
So there have been a couple of issues that we ran into with the approval that we had from the board. We found some buses that were in perfect buses, more money, fewer miles, newer. So we haven't been able to find one that meets the $30,000 criteria that we had set out before, and they seem to. What we've discovered is these passenger vans, large capacity passenger vans, go very, very quickly. So, was there something specific, Pat?
Do we need to throw more money at it? Is that what you're saying? In order to get a bus that's going, and I haven't bought a car for quite a while, but in order to buy one of these vehicles that's going to last us, to have low mileage, do we need to throw more money at it?
So the bus that we just lost out on, well, it was beyond the means that we had appropriated, but it was $43,000. We were looking at $30,000. However, it had 35,000 miles. It was a 2021, and it was in great shape. And they do have those from time to time. They seem to get this in off of corporate leases. And this is at a dealership down south that handles as we've discovered, they seem to be a conduit for these types of vehicles elsewhere in the Northeast. So what we had looked at was seeing that if the senior center could kick in more money, we worked it out to, it would have meant an additional $8,000 from ARPA funds, I believe. I think that was the end result. Because in order to get to that 43, that 30 was going to take us up to 38, and then between the capital reserve fund and the senior center donations, they were going to make up the difference of the $5,000 to get to 43. Actually, so that's where that was. So if the board wanted to expand the amount of ARPA, it would give us the ability to get something in that vicinity of like a 21 with less than 40,000 miles, less than $44,000.
I think it's a very important program we have.
Great.
Services.
I mean, it doesn't mean we're actually going to be spending if you get the right deal, but you want to be able to pull the trigger if there is
up
something.
to, right. Yeah. But that does seem to be the market, the going market for those, and they go incredibly quickly, as we've discovered. Here today, gone tomorrow.
We get ourselves into the bidding.
We I was
increasing our
on the
pot.
way down to look at one, and they called me and said it's gone. So it only
So
had
would the
4,000
board,
miles on
would
it.
the board like to increase that? You can see where the, where our ARPA status is. There's 101,000 available currently. And the last item on there under number 8 was the senior center bus, and that was 15,000 that the board had committed at the last meeting.
How much more do you think we should add? We would have to add to be in a better position to purchase.
Well, we seem to, Pat and I seem to think it was going to be $8,000. It's like the minimum, be able to take that from ARPA and add that to money from the capital reserve and the senior center donations. 10,000 would probably give plenty of room. But, somewhere in that neighborhood, 8 to 10, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I would make a motion to take 10,000 of the ARPA money and add it to the pot
Second.
for the senior center bus.
Is that 10,000 additional or 10,000 total?
Thank you for clarification. Yes, 10,000 additional.
Motions. Did you say that was a motion?
I said that was a motion.
Oh, okay. Motion's been made.
Scott second.
Seconded. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, everyone.
I have nothing else to report.
It's a record.
You stood to your word.
Did I not?
Kudos
Did I
to
not?
you.
I told you.
I hope I get to do your evaluation now.
Nice job.
Yeah,
Now's the time
I had
to
to do hers. So she wants to get me back.
All right.
Can I ask him a quick question?
Sure.
On this contract, it says 2019 through 2000.
Right.
Is there a more current one?
Yes, you have them both. So in your email, you had asked for the last 2 contracts. So
But isn't this?
One goes
So
through
the-
December 31st.
Yeah,
Let me read them.
the last update contract we had was the one for
Okay.
19.
Okay,
This is the most current, and you also have the current update contract for 24.
okay, thank you.
Is there any more questions from the public, either here or online? Go ahead, Greg. Yeah, sure. Come on up. Oh, you gotta push the button. Yep, there you go.
Greg Volder, 161 School Street, and I too got my avatar notice. And I was a little disappointed, one, that we can't meet anybody in person. I don't understand that. For what we pay these folks, which is a lot of money, I think we have a right to sit down across from someone and explain. Chuck's got paperwork he wants to deliver, and now he has to scan it. It becomes a very impersonal situation, and as taxpayers, we're going to get hammered at some point, and I think we have a right to that. I don't know what's changed other than COVID, and that's long gone. So we've always had it that way, and I don't understand what's happened. So that's one issue.
She's going to be here, or both of them will be here in subsequent meetings, so you'll get to ask your question.
Yeah. The other question I had was if we've heard yet the percentage increase in residential versus commercial. The letter says that the total value of the town has increased an approximate 75%. And that's remarkable. And I think Catherine's right in the sense of, how do you come up with these numbers? If your house has been valued 50% more, where's that other balance coming in from? Is it all on lakefront, or what is it? But I think we have there's a lot of explaining to do, as they say. And I'm also concerned for people who could have been on vacation last week. They get the notice and the deadline's tomorrow at 4:00 or something. And it's just, it feels like we're kind of they're trying to push us through and rush this through and not give people a fair chance to do some homework and to understand this isn't an easy thing for a lot of people to go get their cards off of the town, go to the site and match the card. I just found something this morning on our property that didn't match up and make any sense to me. So I just think that they're really rushing the taxpayer of the community to have to get a meeting next week, and you only give them a week, and they may not have even had 2 days to look at it because they were on vacation last week or this week, or they're going to be on vacation next week. So it just seems like this is vacation time and there's a big rush to push this through, and it kind of limits the aggravation for them in some ways. So I just wanted to, on behalf of myself and hopefully other taxpayers, say, what's up with that?
I agree.
Thank you.
100%.
I appreciate it, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
Also agree with it. Tim, did you have an answer to that question about the percentage?
No, but I did. But in getting the pro forma MS1, I've now got a breakdown of what our last MS1 reported to the state was and what the MS1 looks like now with the new values. So I need to go through. I just got it this afternoon, so I need to go through and do an analysis. But I can have that for you at your next meeting.
Okay.
And I'll have a breakdown of what the increases were in the different areas. The only other thing was that I was just getting texted by someone listening online that the appointment slots are through July, that they're available through July, and also that where you set an appointment for the phone interview, there's a place where you can upload documents for them to be able to review as well. I'm not saying that's sufficient, but that is available.
I do know as the appointments fill up, so if today is filled up, they add a day. So, and that's been happening all week. So, okay. Is there anybody online that would like to say something? Okay. Hearing none. The time being 7:18. I make a motion to move into non-public per RSA 91A:3 2B. The dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, or the disciplining of such employee, or investigation of any such charges against him or her unless the employee affected has a right to a public meeting. And 2, request the meeting be open, in which case the request shall be granted. And 2B, the hiring of any person as a public employee. Do I hear a second?
Jessamine second.
Roll call vote, please.
Jessamine, yes.
Ruggles, yes.
Constantino, yes.
Justin, yes.
Scanlon, yes.
Thank you. Thanks, Greg. I appreciate your input.
This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, folks. Time being 9:05. I make a motion to seal the minutes of the June 20th meeting of our non-public, because disclosure would adversely affect the reputation of a person other than a member of the board permanently.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Is there any new business to come before us?
I have one thing.
Yeah,
One little
okay.
teeny weeny-
Catherine, do you have
Ladies
something?
first.
John, when you are going to the cemetery to evaluate its needs, would you have time to get a hold of Shane so he has the benefit of your observations and insight?
Yeah, I can.
I think that would help.
So I do have permission from the board to go and take a look and.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And
That would help.
And then I'll determine what areas that possibly they could help out with for,
Well, you know a lot
if we
about
need any
marble
for stuff
monuments
and
and stuff.
cleaning properly and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do we have signatures on everything before we close?
We do not have the check register signed for accounts payable on page 1. And page 2.
No
The only
signatures?
person that signed it would be Scott.
Oh,
So we're using a master sheet. Any,
we only have to sign
The
this one,
cover,
right?
you
the
only have to
cover.
sign the cover.
Okay.
Okay,
So it'll
good.
make it easier for you guys in the future. If we have multiple manifests, they'll be referenced there and all the information will still be behind it.
Now you've got 4.
Oh, I didn't look at the Stubbies. Yeah, you can just keep going.
All right. Joe,
You do need to
This
sign
is
the
DES.
auctioneer.
I think we did.
Okay.
I did.
I signed it.
Dock installation.
Joe, do you have anything to come before us?
I do have this one thing. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.